When did the USA officially enter World War II? 1941. The United States officially entered World War II in December 1941, following the surprise attack on Pearl Harbor by the Empire of Japan. This event led to declarations of war against Japan, Germany, and Italy, fully engaging the US in the global conflict. According to the Bible, Ham, Shem, and Japheth were whose sons? Noah. In the biblical book of Genesis, Ham, Shem, and Japheth are presented as the three sons of Noah who survived the great flood aboard Noah's Ark. Their descendants are traditionally regarded as the progenitors of all humanity after the flood, spreading across different regions of the world. The Bible Belt is a name commonly given to which parts of the USA? The religious southern states. The Bible Belt refers to an informal region in the southern United States where socially conservative evangelical Protestantism exerts a significant influence on culture and politics. This term highlights the prominent role of religious beliefs and practices in the daily life and societal norms of these states. Where is the world's largest cave system with 345 kilometers of mapped passageways located? Kentucky, USA. Mammoth Cave National Park in Kentucky, USA, is home to the world's longest known cave system, currently mapped at over 676 kilometers, 420 miles, of interconnected passageways. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and an International Biosphere Reserve, celebrated for its vast chambers, intricate labyrinths, and unique subterranean ecosystems. What gas is a component of common table salt? Chlorine. Common table salt, chemically known as sodium chloride, is an ionic compound formed from sodium and chlorine. Chlorine exists as a diatomic gas, Cl2, under standard conditions and is a vital element for various industrial and biological processes. What is a word for a computer user's representation of themselves, usually in the form of a three-dimensional model used in computer games? Avatar. An avatar is a graphical representation of a user or the user's alter ego or character. It can be a two-dimensional image or a three-dimensional model used in virtual worlds, online forums, and video games to signify a user's presence. The term originates from Sanskrit, referring to a manifestation or incarnation. What substance causes the sting caused by a nettle or an ant? Formic acid. Formic acid, also known as methanoic acid, is a naturally occurring carboxylic acid. It is responsible for the stinging sensation from nettle hairs and the bites of many ants, serving as a chemical defense mechanism. What is the name of the Polish national flag carrier airline, established in 1929, which is one of the world's oldest airlines still in operation? Polskie Linie Lotnicze, LOT Polish Airlines. LOT Polish Airlines, officially Polskie Linie Lotnicze, was established in 1929 and is one of the world's oldest airlines continuously operating. As Poland's flag carrier, it plays a crucial role in the country's transportation infrastructure and connects it globally. What strait lies between Malaysia and Singapore? Straits of Johor. The Straits of Johor is a narrow body of water that separates the Malaysian state of Johor from the island nation of Singapore. This strait is economically and strategically significant, with bridges and causeways connecting the two countries, facilitating trade and movement of people. Where is the Sea of Muscovy located? On the Moon. The Sea of Muscovy, Latin, Mare Moscovans, is a lunar mare, or a large, dark, basaltic plain on the Moon. It is situated on the far side of the Moon and was first photographed by the Soviet Luna 3 probe in 1959. What temperature is the equivalent of 0 degrees Kelvin? Minus 273.15 degrees Celsius. 0 Kelvin also known as absolute zero, is the lowest possible temperature where particles have minimum kinetic energy. It corresponds to -273.15 degrees Celsius and -459.67 degrees Fahrenheit, representing the theoretical point at which all atomic motion ceases. Vellum, a type of parchment, was originally made from the skin of which animal? Calf. Vellum is a fine parchment made from animal skin, traditionally calf, kid, or lamb. It was extensively used for manuscripts, documents, and bookbinding due to its durability and smooth surface, particularly before the widespread adoption of paper. Where is the Flavian Amphitheatre? Rome. The Flavian Amphitheatre, commonly known as the Colosseum, is an iconic oval amphitheatre in the center of the city of Rome, Italy. Built during the Roman Empire, it was used for gladiatorial contests and public spectacles, and remains one of the greatest architectural and engineering feats of ancient Rome. Which company won a formative case in UK labour law that held that a union taking strike action could be liable for loss of profits to an employer? Taff Vale Railway Company. The Taff Vale Railway Company v Amalgamated Society of Railway Servants case, 1901, was a landmark decision in UK labour law. The House of Lords ruled that a trade union could be sued for damages caused by a strike, significantly impacting trade union activity and leading to the Trade Disputes Act 1906, which granted unions immunity from such actions. On which island is the port of Heraklion? Crete. Heraklion is the largest city and capital of the Greek island of Crete, located in the Aegean Sea. It serves as a major port and is a significant economic, cultural, and administrative center for the region, also being home to the ancient Minoan Palace of Knossos. In about 1000 AD, explorer Leif Erikson is believed to have discovered North America and named it what? Vinland. Leif Erikson, a Norse explorer, is widely credited as the first European to set foot on North American soil around 1000 AD, predating Christopher Columbus by nearly 5 centuries. He named the newly discovered land Vinland, a term that likely refers to vineland or pasture land, indicating its fertile nature. The Battle of Midway, fought between 4 and 7 June 1942, was an important naval battle of the Pacific Campaign of World War II. Why was it called that? It was fought near Midway Atoll. The Battle of Midway was a pivotal naval engagement in the Pacific theater of World War II, marking a turning point for the Allies. It earned its name because the intense fighting occurred near the Midway Atoll, a strategic cluster of islands in the central Pacific Ocean that both American and Japanese forces sought to control. Who independently invented infinitesimal calculus, with notation still in general use, devised the binary system, and promoted the philosophy of optimism, positing that the universe is the best possible one God could have made? Gottfried Leibniz. Gottfried Leibniz was a brilliant German polymath renowned for his independent development of infinitesimal calculus and his invention of the binary numeral system, which forms the basis of modern computing. As a philosopher, he championed the concept of optimism, arguing for the inherent goodness and perfection of the created universe. What makes England's White Cliffs of Dover appear white? They are made of chalk. The iconic White Cliffs of Dover derive their distinctive white color from their composition, primarily chalk. This geological formation consists of countless microscopic marine organisms, specifically coccolithophores, that accumulated over millions of years during the Cretaceous period, forming vast deposits of calcium carbonate. The viola is tuned 1/5 below the violin, sharing 3 common string tunings, G, D, and which other? A. The viola, a member of the violin family, is tuned a perfect fifth below the violin, giving it a deeper and mellower tone. Its 4 strings are typically tuned to C3, G3, D4, and A4, meaning it shares the G, D, and A strings with a standard violin, which is tuned G3, D4, A4, E5. Which highly flammable metal, easy to ignite when powdered, produces a brilliant white light, is difficult to extinguish as it burns in both nitrogen and carbon dioxide, and was used in incendiary weapons during World War II and for illumination in early photography? Magnesium. Magnesium is a highly reactive, silvery white alkaline earth metal known for its intense flammability and brilliant white light produced during combustion. Its ability to burn even in nitrogen and carbon dioxide made it a dangerous component in incendiary bombs during World War II and a vital element for producing flash illumination in early photographic processes. How many members are there in the US Upper House, the Senate? 100. The United States Senate is the upper chamber of the US Congress, comprising 100 senators, with 2 representatives from each of the 50 states. Senators serve 6-year terms, which are staggered to ensure that roughly 1/3 of the Senate is up for election every 2 years, thereby providing continuity in the legislative process. In 1956, a major uprising in Hungary was put down by forces from where? USSR. The Hungarian Revolution of 1956 was a widespread revolt against the government of the Hungarian People's Republic and its Soviet-imposed policies. This significant historical event was brutally suppressed by the Soviet Union, which deployed troops and tanks into Hungary, resulting in considerable casualties and a severe crackdown on dissent. In 2003, which planet passed 55.76 million kilometers from Earth, the closest since the Stone Age? Mars. In August 2003, Mars made its closest approach to Earth in approximately 60,000 years, an astronomical event known as a perihelic opposition. This rare alignment, where Earth and Mars are at their minimum distance in their respective orbits, provided unique opportunities for observation and advanced scientific study of the red planet. What day was proclaimed in 1945 as VE Day? The 8th of May. V Day, or Victory in Europe Day, marks the formal acceptance by the Allies of Nazi Germany's unconditional surrender of its armed forces on May 8, 1945. This significant event symbolized the end of World War II in Europe. What machine, considered the world's first working programmable, fully automatic computing machine, was completed and demonstrated in 1941 and destroyed in 1943? Z3, designed by Konrad Zuse. The Z3, created by German engineer Konrad Zuse, was an electromechanical computer built in 1941. It is often regarded as the world's first working programmable, fully automatic digital computer, playing a crucial role in the early development of computer science. The House of Plantagenet, including its cadet branches, produced 15 monarchs who ruled England from 1154 to 1485. From what is the name, Plantagenet, derived? The name is derived from the Latin name of the common broom plant. The Plantagenet dynasty was a royal house that originated from the county of Anjou in France. The name, Plantagenet, is believed to derive from the planta genista, the Latin name for the common broom plant, which Geoffrey V, Count of Anjou, reputedly wore in his hat as a badge. How many countries border Brazil? 10. Brazil shares land borders with 10 South American countries. These include Argentina, Bolivia, Colombia, French Guiana, Guyana, Paraguay, Peru, Suriname, Uruguay, and Venezuela, making it a nation with extensive international land boundaries. Cassius Chaerea led the assassination of which Roman emperor during the Palatine Games in January 41 AD? Caligula. Caligula, the third Roman emperor, was assassinated in January 41 AD by a conspiracy led by Cassius Chaerea, a Praetorian tribune. His reign was marked by increasing tyranny and erratic behavior, which ultimately led to his downfall. What is the name of the starched, open-weave fabric, similar to cheesecloth, used to wipe ink off a plate during the intaglio inking process? Tarlatan. Tarlatan is a stiff, open-weave cotton fabric widely used in printmaking, particularly in the intaglio process. Its specific texture allows for effective wiping of excess ink from etched or engraved plates while retaining ink in the incised lines, ensuring a clean print. Which historical buildings, including Bucky O'Neill Cabin, Kolb Studio, El Towa Hotel, Hopi House, Werkamp's Curios, Lookout Studio, Desert View Watchtower, and Bright Angel Lodge, are located at the Grand Canyon? Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, is renowned not only for its natural beauty but also for its significant historic structures. These buildings, many designed by architect Mary Jane Coulter, are examples of rustic architecture and play a crucial role in the cultural and historical interpretation of the park. Barack Obama was the first US president born outside the contiguous states of the USA. Where was he born? Hawaii. Barack Obama, the 44th President of the United States, was born in Honolulu, Hawaii. Hawaii officially became the 50th U.S. state in 1959, the year of his birth, distinguishing him as the first U.S. president not born in one of the contiguous 48 states. Which English village, growing from a fishing hamlet in 1864, was completely submerged due to coastal erosion by 1921? Hampton-on-Sea. Hampton-on-Sea, a village in Kent, England, suffered complete submergence due to severe coastal erosion by 1921. Its story is a significant historical example of the destructive power of the sea and the impact of environmental factors on human settlements. What was the most populous city in the world in 1800? Canton, China. In 1800, Canton, now Guangzhou, in China was recognized as the world's most populous city. This reflects the significant demographic and economic standing of Chinese urban centers before the rapid industrialization and population shifts in European and American cities during the 19th century. In what year did Yuri Gagarin become the first human in space? 1961. Yuri Gagarin, a Soviet cosmonaut, made history on April 12, 1961, when he completed a single orbit of Earth aboard the Vostok 1 spacecraft. This monumental achievement marked him as the first human to journey into outer space, significantly advancing the space race. Which president of the United States faced impeachment proceedings concerning his activities with Monica Lewinsky? Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton, the 42nd U.S. President, was impeached by the House of Representatives in 1998 for perjury and obstruction of justice related to the Paula Jones lawsuit and his relationship with Monica Lewinsky. He was subsequently acquitted by the Senate in 1999, allowing him to complete his second term. What is the chemical symbol for nickel? Ni. Nickel is a silvery white, lustrous metal with the chemical symbol, Ni, and atomic number 28. It is a transition metal known for its corrosion resistance and is widely used in alloys, particularly stainless steel, and in various industrial applications. From which country do the Walloons originate? Belgium. The Walloons are a Romance-speaking ethnic group native to Wallonia, the southern region of Belgium. They are distinguished by their French dialect and cultural heritage, forming a significant linguistic and cultural community within Belgium. For what artistic technique was Thomas Bewick renowned in the 18th century? Wood engraving. Thomas Bewick, 1753 to 1828, was an influential English engraver and natural history author, best known for his innovative advancements in wood engraving. His detailed illustrations, particularly for A History of British Birds, revolutionized the art form and significantly impacted book illustration. Which major disaster, resulting in 56 fatalities, occurred in Bradford, England, in 1985? Bradford City Stadium Fire. The Bradford City Stadium fire occurred on May 11, 1985, during a football match, resulting in 56 deaths and hundreds of injuries. The tragedy led to significant improvements in stadium safety regulations, particularly concerning fire prevention and crowd management in sports venues worldwide. Which historic London market, established by a charter from Henry I in 1133 for cloth goods and initially held at Smithfield, was ultimately abolished in 1855 due to public disorder? Bartholomew Fair. Bartholomew Fair was one of London's oldest and most prominent annual fairs, founded in 1133. Initially a cloth fair, it evolved into a major pleasure fair known for its entertainment and boisterous crowds, eventually being abolished in 1855 due to concerns over public order and sanitation. What environmental condition can an ombrophobe or ombrophobous plant not withstand in large quantities? Rain. In botany, an ombrophobe or ombrophobous plant is a species that avoids or cannot tolerate excessive rainfall. These plants are often adapted to arid or semi-arid environments where prolonged exposure to heavy rain could be detrimental to their growth and survival. What annual holiday, celebrated on October 31st, has its roots in the Celtic festival of Samhain and the Christian holy day of All Saints? Halloween. Halloween is an annual holiday observed on October 31st, primarily originating from the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain. This festival marked the end of summer and the harvest, and the beginning of the darker half of the year. Over time, it merged with Christian observances like All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day. Which construction, designed by Finnish-American architect Eero Saarinen and structural engineer Hans Carl Bandel, standing 630 feet, 192 meters, tall and 630 feet, 192 meters, wide at its base, is known as the tallest monument in the USA? The Gateway Arch, in St. Louis, Missouri. The Gateway Arch, located in St. Louis, Missouri, is a monumental stainless steel arch symbolizing the westward expansion of the United States. Designed by Eero Saarinen and Hans Carl Bandel, it stands as the tallest monument in the USA and the world's tallest arch. Construction began in 1963 and was completed in 1965. In January 2006, what space probe was launched to investigate Pluto? New Horizons. The New Horizons space probe was launched by NASA in January 2006, embarking on a mission to study Pluto and its moons, as well as other objects in the Kuiper belt. It successfully performed a flyby of Pluto in July 2015, providing unprecedented data and images of the dwarf planet. Where was Expo 2010, the most expensive expo in history with the largest site, held from May 1 to October 31, 2010, with over 190 countries and 50 international organizations participating? Shanghai, China. The Shanghai Expo 2010, officially known as Expo 2010 Shanghai, China, set records as the most expensive World's Fair in history and featured the largest site area. It attracted over 73 million visitors, making it the most visited expo ever, and underscored China's growing global influence. What was the real name of El Cid, the Castilian nobleman and military leader known as a Spanish national hero? Rodrigo Diaz de Vivar. Rodrigo Diaz de Vivar, known as El Cid, from Arabic, Al-Said, meaning, the master, was a Castilian knight who fought for both Christian and Muslim rulers in medieval Spain. He became a legendary national hero, celebrated for his military prowess and chivalry, particularly for his conquest of Valencia. Which country officially left the British Commonwealth in 1949 upon declaring itself a republic? Ireland. Ireland formally declared itself a republic on April 18, 1949, and consequently left the British Commonwealth. This act solidified its independence from the United Kingdom, which had been progressively established since the Anglo-Irish Treaty of 1921. In September 2003, who became the first person to cross the Atlantic Ocean in an open wicker basket beneath a hot air balloon? David Hempelman Adams. British adventurer David Hempelman Adams achieved a significant feat in September 2003 by becoming the first person to successfully cross the Atlantic Ocean in an open wicker basket suspended from a hot air balloon. This remarkable journey highlighted human endurance and pioneering spirit in aerial navigation. According to Greek mythology, which of the 9 muses was the muse of dance? Terpsichore. In Greek mythology, Terpsichore is one of the 9 muses, the goddesses of the arts and sciences. She is specifically recognized as the muse of dance and choral song, often depicted with a lyre, symbolizing her connection to rhythmic and harmonious expression. What is the primary material used to create ceramic items, such as pottery and porcelain? Clay. Ceramic items are primarily made from clay, a natural earthy material composed of fine-grained minerals, which becomes hard and durable when fired at high temperatures. The type of clay and firing process determines the final ceramic product, ranging from earthenware to fine porcelain, china. What was the name of the ship commanded by Edward Teach, famously known as Blackbeard, the English pirate who operated in the West Indies and along the American colonies from 1717 to 1718? Queen Anne's Revenge. Blackbeard, whose real name was Edward Teach, was one of the most notorious pirates in history, active during the golden age of piracy. His flagship, the Queen Anne's Revenge, was a formidable vessel that played a central role in his conquests and reign of terror in the Caribbean and North American coasts. What part of the body is affected by a cramp? Muscles. Cramp is a sudden, involuntary contraction of one or more muscles. It can cause severe pain and is often associated with dehydration, muscle fatigue, or electrolyte imbalances. According to Greek legend, by whom was Leander visited nightly, after he swam across the Hellespont? Hero. The tragic Greek myth of Hero and Leander tells of Leander, who swam the Hellespont each night to be with his love, Hero, a priestess of Aphrodite. Hero would light a lamp to guide him, but one stormy night the lamp was extinguished, and Leander drowned. In Greek mythology, which winged horse sprang from the body of Medusa after her death? Pegasus. Pegasus, the divine winged horse, is a prominent figure in Greek mythology. He was born from the blood of the Gorgon Medusa when Perseus decapitated her, and is often depicted as a symbol of inspiration and poetic endeavor. Which national leader had 3 wives? Aurelia Tizome, married 1929, Eva Duarte, married 1945, and Isabel Martinez, married 1961, with the first 2 dying of cancer? Juan Perón. Juan Perón was an Argentine army general and politician who served as president of Argentina 3 times. His second wife, Eva Duarte, Evita, was a highly influential political figure in her own right, known for her advocacy for labor rights and women's suffrage, and is a significant figure in Argentine history. The village of Zermatt is located close to which prominent geographical feature? The Matterhorn. Zermatt is a renowned mountaineering and ski resort village in the Swiss Alps, famous for its proximity to the Matterhorn. The Matterhorn is one of the highest mountains in the Alps and a distinctive pyramidal peak, attracting climbers and tourists worldwide. What was tuberculosis previously known as? Consumption. Tuberculosis, TB, was historically known as consumption due to the dramatic weight loss and wasting away observed in affected individuals. It is a bacterial infection primarily affecting the lungs and has been a major cause of death throughout human history, particularly before the advent of effective antibiotics. The counties of Clinton, Delaware, Erie, Essex, Franklin, Jefferson, Madison, Nassau, Ontario, Orange, Orleans, Saratoga, Seneca, Ulster, Washington, Westchester and Wyoming are located in which state of the USA? New York. New York State, located in the northeastern United States, is composed of 62 counties, including the listed ones such as Erie, Nassau, Westchester, and Saratoga. These counties are significant administrative divisions within the state, each with its own history and local governance. According to Greek legend, which of the 9 muses was the muse of epic poetry? Calliope. In Greek mythology, Calliope is revered as the chief of the muses, specifically the muse of epic poetry. She is often depicted with a writing tablet or scroll, inspiring poets like Homer in composing seminal works such as the Iliad and the Odyssey. Where are the Straits of Mackinac situated? Between Lakes Huron and Michigan. The Straits of Mackinac are narrow waterways located in the state of Michigan, USA, connecting Lake Huron and Lake Michigan. These straits are crucial for navigation and are famously spanned by the iconic Mackinac Bridge, a major suspension bridge in North America. A state of Australia, one of the world's biggest waterfalls, a London railway station, Africa's largest lake, and a large public park in Hong Kong are all named after whom? Queen Victoria. Many prominent geographical features and institutions globally are named after Queen Victoria, who reigned as Queen of the United Kingdom and Empress of India from 1837 to 1901. Examples include the State of Victoria in Australia, Victoria Falls in Africa, Lake Victoria, and Victoria Park in Hong Kong, reflecting the vast influence of the British Empire during her era. Ernest Lawrence of the University of California, Berkeley, is credited with the development in 1929 of what type of particle accelerator that accelerates charged particles using a high-frequency, alternating voltage in a perpendicular magnetic field, causing them to spiral and encounter the accelerating voltage many times. Cyclotron. The cyclotron, invented by Ernest Lawrence in 1929, is a type of particle accelerator that uses a high-frequency alternating electric field and a perpendicular magnetic field to accelerate charged particles. Its development revolutionized nuclear physics and particle research, leading to numerous discoveries in atomic structure and nuclear reactions. What ship, formerly named USS Phoenix, which saw action in World War II, became the first to be sunk by a nuclear-powered submarine in 1982? The Argentine cruiser, General Belgrano. The Argentine cruiser Ara General Belgrano, formerly the USS Phoenix, was sunk by the British nuclear-powered submarine HMS Conqueror during the Falklands War on May 2, 1982. This controversial sinking marked the first time a nuclear submarine engaged in combat and sank another vessel, significantly impacting the course of the conflict. Until the year 2000, how many US presidents had previously served as vice president? 14. As of the year 2000, 14 individuals had served as US president after previously holding the office of vice president. This reflects a common path in American politics, where the vice presidency often serves as a stepping stone to the highest office, whether through election or succession. What was the occupation of William Kidd, who was hanged for it in 1701? Pirate. Captain William Kidd was a Scottish privateer commissioned by the English Crown, who later gained infamy as a pirate in the late 17th century. He was eventually captured, tried for piracy and murder, and hanged in London in 1701, becoming a legendary figure in maritime history. How many members are there in the UK's House of Commons? 646. The House of Commons is the democratically elected lower house of the Parliament of the United Kingdom. Its members, known as Members of Parliament, MPs, are elected through a first-past-the-post system to represent constituencies. The number of seats can vary slightly after boundary reviews, but is typically around 650. What area, claimed as a colony by the German Empire in the late 19th century, became a League of Nations mandate administered by Australia, New Zealand, and the UK after World War I, was occupied by Japanese troops during World War II, and became a trusteeship until it was declared independent in 1968? Nauru. Nauru, a small island nation in Micronesia, has a significant historical trajectory influenced by major world events. Its history as a German colony, a League of Nations mandate, a UN trusteeship, and eventual independence in 1968 highlights the geopolitical shifts of the 20th century. What people traditionally dance a hornpipe? Sailors. The hornpipe is a traditional folk dance, historically associated with sailors and maritime culture. Characterized by lively and vigorous movements, it often features intricate footwork and was a popular form of entertainment on ships. In geometry, there is a name for convex polyhedrons that are regular, of which there are 5 types. Generically, what kind of solid are they called? Platonic. Platonic solids are a class of convex regular polyhedra, characterized by having congruent regular polygonal faces and the same number of faces meeting at each vertex. There are precisely 5 such solids: the tetrahedron, cube, hexahedron, octahedron, dodecahedron, and icosahedron, named after the Greek philosopher Plato. Which abolitionist was hanged in 1859 for his role in the Harper's Ferry raid and played a major role in starting the Civil War? John Brown. John Brown was a fervent American abolitionist who advocated for the violent overthrow of slavery. His failed raid on the federal arsenal at Harper's Ferry in October 1859, intended to arm slaves for an insurrection, significantly escalated sectional tensions and is considered a pivotal event preceding the American Civil War. Which 31-minute documentary, made in 1938, highlighted a great flood in the Mississippi River and advocated for better housing, improved farm techniques, flood control, and increased electrical power? The River. The River is a significant 1938 documentary film by Per Lawrence. It highlighted the environmental and economic impact of the Mississippi River's exploitation and advocated for federal intervention in flood control, improved agricultural practices, and resource management. This film played a crucial role in publicizing New Deal-era conservation efforts. The first recorded fatality of a car accident in the USA was Henry Bliss, on the 13th of September 1899. In which city did this accident occur? New York City. Henry H. Bliss holds the unfortunate distinction of being the first recorded motor vehicle fatality in the United States. He was struck by an electric taxicab in New York City on September 13, 1899, succumbing to his injuries the following morning. This incident marked a grim milestone in the early days of automotive transportation. What is the capital of the U.S. state of Alaska? Juneau. Juneau is the capital city of Alaska, the largest U.S. state by area. It is unique among U.S. state capitals for being inaccessible by road, requiring air or sea travel. The city is a major port for cruise ships and a hub for tourism, fishing, and mining industries. In which country do these laws apply? The 1975 State Protection Act, Article 10b, which grants the government the power to imprison persons for up to 5 years without a trial, and the law to safeguard the state against the dangers of those desiring to cause subversive acts, Article 10a. Myanmar. These laws, particularly the 1975 State Protection Act, were instruments used by past military regimes in Myanmar, formerly Burma, to suppress dissent and political opposition. They allowed for arbitrary detention and imprisonment without due process, drawing significant international criticism for human rights violations. While some reforms have occurred, the legacy of such legislation continues to influence the legal framework. These are the last lines of which play, H. Shall the Worms declare his truth? Go to him, take his shame away. E. He have his goodness now. God forbid I take it from him. The Crucible by Arthur Miller. The Crucible is a 1953 play by American playwright Arthur Miller, widely regarded as a classic of American literature. It is a dramatized and partially fictionalized story of the Salem witch trials that occurred in the Massachusetts Bay Colony during 1692-93, serving as an allegory for McCarthyism. What book was published by Florence Nightingale in 1860? Notes on Nursing. Florence Nightingale, revered as the founder of modern nursing, published Notes on Nursing, What It Is and What It Is Not, in 1860. This foundational text articulated core principles of nursing practice, emphasizing hygiene, environmental factors, and patient observation, profoundly influencing global healthcare standards. Opened in 1890, with 6 stations over 3.2 miles, 5.1 kilometers, and running in a pair of tunnels between the City of London and Stockwell passing under the River Thames, what was the first deep-level underground, tube, railway in the world, and the first major railway to use electric traction? The City and South London Railway. The City and South London Railway, inaugurated in 1890, holds the distinction of being the world's first deep-level underground, tube, railway and the first major railway to utilize electric traction. This engineering feat represented a significant milestone in urban infrastructure development and electric rail technology. Where was the annual G8 Leaders Summit held in the year 2000? Japan. The G8 Leaders Summit in 2000 was hosted in Okinawa, Japan. These annual gatherings bring together leaders from the world's major industrialized economies to address critical global economic, political, and social challenges. What is the only U.S. state that borders both the Great Lakes and the Atlantic Ocean? New York. New York State's unique geographical position allows it to share borders with both the Great Lakes, specifically Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, and the Atlantic Ocean. This makes it the sole U.S. state with direct access to both major water bodies. What is the literal meaning of the Latin legal expression, habeas corpus? You must have the body. Habeas corpus is a fundamental legal writ in common law systems, protecting against unlawful detention. Its literal translation, you must have the body, refers to the requirement for a person to be brought before a court to determine the legality of their imprisonment. What scale is used for rating tornado intensity, based on the damage inflicted on human-built structures and vegetation? The Fujita scale. The Fujita scale, and its successor, the enhanced Fujita scale, classifies tornadoes based on the severity of the damage they cause. It uses observable damage to structures and vegetation to estimate wind speeds, providing a standardized measure of tornado intensity. What action did Sweyn Forkbeard take in retaliation for the St. Brice's Day massacre in 1002 AD, when Danes in the Kingdom of England were killed on the orders of King Ethelred the Unready? He invaded England and eventually became king. The St. Brice's Day massacre, ordered by King Ethelred the Unready, involved the widespread killing of Danes in England. In response, Sweyn Forkbeard, King of Denmark, launched a series of retaliatory invasions, eventually driving Ethelred into exile and proclaiming himself King of England in 1013. On which island is the port of Messina located? Sicily. Messina is a major port city situated on the northeastern tip of Sicily, an autonomous region of Italy. Its strategic location on the Strait of Messina makes it a crucial transportation hub between Sicily and mainland Italy. G. John, a member of the hip Sing Tom Criminal Society, was the first person in the US to undergo which form of execution after being sentenced to death for murder in Nevada? Execution by lethal gas. G. John was executed in 1924 in Nevada, becoming the first person in the United States to be put to death by lethal gas. This method was introduced as an alternative to hanging, intended to be a more humane form of capital punishment, though its efficacy and humaneness have been subjects of ongoing debate. Who is the patron saint of Wales? Saint David. Saint David is the patron saint of Wales, with his feast day observed on March 1st Street. He was a Welsh bishop of Maynooth during the 6th century and is revered for his asceticism and role in spreading Christianity in Wales. In the late 18th century, Pennsylvania built a presidential palace in a futile effort to have Philadelphia made the permanent national capital. What happened to it? It was bought by the University of Pennsylvania. In the late 18th century, Pennsylvania constructed a presidential palace in Philadelphia with the ambition of making the city the permanent national capital. Despite this effort, the capital was eventually moved, and the building was subsequently acquired by the University of Pennsylvania, which repurposed it for academic use. Which European country has a flag that is not oblong? Switzerland. Switzerland is unique among European countries for having a square national flag, rather than the more common oblong, rectangular, shape. Its design features a white cross on a red field, symbolic of the Swiss Confederation. The islands of Zanzibar and Madagascar are in which ocean? Indian. The islands of Zanzibar and Madagascar are both situated in the Indian Ocean, off the eastern coast of Africa. Madagascar is the fourth largest island in the world, while Zanzibar is an archipelago part of Tanzania, known for its historical trade routes and spice production. The House of Representatives of which country unanimously voted to become a secular and inclusive democratic republic on the 28th of May 2008, giving the king 15 days to vacate the palace, to reopen it as a public museum? Nepal. On May 28, 2008, Nepal's House of Representatives unanimously voted to abolish the monarchy and establish a secular, inclusive democratic republic. This landmark decision marked the end of 240 years of royal rule, with King Gyanendra given 15 days to vacate the Narayanhiti Palace, which was subsequently transformed into a public museum. Biz Stone, Evan Williams and Jack Dorsey were involved with the launch of what computer application? Twitter. Biz Stone, Evan Williams, and Jack Dorsey are recognized as co-founders of Twitter, the popular microblogging and social networking service. Launched in 2006, Twitter rapidly grew into a global platform for real-time information sharing and communication. The cities of Ciudad Juarez, El Paso, Laredo, and Brownsville are situated on the banks of which river? Rio Grande. The Rio Grande, known as Rio Bravo del Norte in Mexico, is a major river forming part of the international border between the United States and Mexico. It is economically and geographically significant for the cities along its banks, facilitating cross-border trade and cultural exchange. After the mutiny on the Bounty, Fletcher Christian and his men took women from where to colonize Pitcairn Island? Tahiti. The mutiny on the Bounty occurred in 1789, a historic event in British naval history. Fletcher Christian and the mutineers settled on Pitcairn Island, taking with them Tahitian men and women to establish a new, isolated community. This led to the unique Anglo-Tahitian culture that exists on the island today. Betsy Ross was a significant figure in the history of the USA in which century? 18th. Betsy Ross is a legendary figure in American history, famously credited with sewing the first American flag. While the historical accuracy of this claim is debated, her story is firmly set in the 18th century, a pivotal period encompassing the American Revolutionary War and the birth of the United States. Ball, fork, and sheet are all types of what natural phenomenon? Lightning. Lightning is a powerful natural electrostatic discharge occurring during thunderstorms, resulting in a sudden flash of light and thunder. Ball lightning is a rare, luminous sphere. Forked lightning describes branched flashes extending from a cloud, and sheet lightning is a diffuse illumination within clouds or behind them. Lake Titicaca is located on which continent? South America. Lake Titicaca is the largest lake in South America by volume and is considered the highest navigable lake in the world. Situated in the Andes Mountains, it straddles the border between Peru and Bolivia, serving as a vital geographical feature and having deep cultural significance for the indigenous peoples of the region. General Stanley Allen McChrystal, who commanded forces in Afghanistan from June 2009, was relieved of his command in June 2010 after making unflattering remarks about U.S. presidential administration officials in an article in which magazine? Rolling Stone. General Stanley McChrystal's dismissal in 2010 followed a controversial Rolling Stone article, The Runaway General, where he and his aides made critical comments about the Obama administration. This event underscored the complexities of civil-military relations and media scrutiny during wartime. World War I was triggered when Germany invaded which country? Belgium. Germany's invasion of neutral Belgium in August 1914 was a pivotal event that triggered Britain's declaration of war, effectively escalating the conflict into World War I. This action was part of the German Schlieffen Plan, designed to swiftly bypass French defenses. What is the name for the hair that surrounds a lion's neck? Mane. A lion's mane is a distinctive collar of longer hair found predominantly on male lions. It plays a crucial role in displays of dominance, provides protection during fights, and can indicate the health and genetic fitness of the male to potential mates. What is the title given to the widow of the holder of a title which has been passed on to another? Dowager. A dowager refers to a widow who holds a title or property derived from her deceased husband, especially when the original title has subsequently passed to an heir or another successor. This term is most commonly associated with aristocratic or royal families. Oberon is a moon of which planet? Uranus. Oberon is the second largest and outermost major moon of the planet Uranus. Discovered by William Herschel in 1787, it is named after the mythical king of the fairies from William Shakespeare's play A Midsummer Night's Dream. On the 14th of November 1910, Eugene Burton Ely was the first to do what in an aeroplane? Take off from a ship. Eugene Burton Ely achieved a historic aviation feat by performing the first ever takeoff from a ship, the USS Birmingham, in November 1910. This pioneering event demonstrated the potential for naval aviation and was a crucial step towards the development of aircraft carriers. What river runs through Phoenix, Arizona, USA? Salt River. The Salt River flows through Phoenix, Arizona, playing a vital role in the region's history and development. It is a major tributary of the Gila River and its waters are crucial for irrigation and municipal use in the arid Sonoran Desert. In 2001, American Dennis Tito was the first person to do what? Be a space tourist. Dennis Tito, an American businessman, became the world's first space tourist in 2001, paying approximately $20 million for a trip to the International Space Station, ISS. His journey aboard a Russian Soyuz spacecraft marked a significant milestone in commercial spaceflight, opening discussions about the future of private space travel. The Sabina River forms the border of Texas with what other area? Louisiana. The Sabina River serves as a natural boundary between the states of Texas and Louisiana in the United States. Originating in Texas, it flows southeast for approximately 578 miles, emptying into the Gulf of Mexico, and has historically been important for trade and transportation in the region. In the human body, what does melanin determine? Skin color. Melanin is a pigment produced by melanocytes in the human body, primarily responsible for determining skin, hair, and eye color. It plays a crucial role in protecting the skin from harmful ultraviolet (UV) radiation by absorbing sunlight. The Volstead Act, that became law in the USA on the 28th of October 1919, concerned what? Prohibition of alcohol. The Volstead Act, officially known as the National Prohibition Act, was enacted in the United States to enforce the 18th Amendment, which prohibited the manufacture, sale, and transportation of alcoholic beverages. It took effect in January 1920 and remained in force until its repeal in 1933. What was the name given to people who went to California to join in the gold rush in the mid-19th century? 49ers. The term, 49ers, refers to the prospectors who migrated to California in 1849 during the height of the California Gold Rush. This massive influx of people had a profound impact on California's population growth, economy, and eventual statehood. Who painted the famous paintings known as Children at the Beach at Guernsey, Dance at Le Moulin de la Galette, The Swing, and The Theatre Box? Renoir. Pierre-Auguste Renoir was a leading French Impressionist painter, celebrated for his luminous and vibrant depictions of modern life. His works, such as Dance at Le Moulin de la Galette, are quintessential examples of Impressionism, capturing light and movement with delicate brushstrokes. Which mythical figure carries a scythe? The Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper is a personification of death, depicted in Western culture as a skeletal figure wearing a dark cloak with a hood and carrying a scythe. This iconic imagery dates back to the 14th century, coinciding with the Black Death, and symbolizes the indiscriminate nature of death. What is the technical term for double vision? Diplopia. Diplopia is the medical term for double vision, a condition where a single object appears as two. This can result from various underlying causes, including issues with the eyes themselves, the nerves connecting to the eyes, or parts of the brain responsible for vision processing. What nationality was Alfred Nobel, founder of the Nobel Prize? Swedish. Alfred Nobel was a Swedish chemist, engineer, inventor, businessman, and philanthropist, renowned for inventing dynamite. His will established the Nobel Prizes, an annual international award recognizing outstanding achievements in physics, chemistry, physiology or medicine, literature, and peace. There are 1,860 steps from where to where? Ground level to the top of the Empire State Building, New York, USA. The Empire State Building, an iconic Art Deco skyscraper in Midtown Manhattan, features approximately 1,860 steps from its ground floor lobby to the 102nd floor observation deck. While most visitors use elevators, an annual stair climb race challenges participants to ascend these many steps. What is the name of a famous concerto by Vivaldi? The Four Seasons. Antonio Vivaldi's The Four Seasons is a set of 4 violin concertos, each representing a season of the year. Composed around 1721, this programmatic work is one of the most beloved and frequently performed pieces in the Baroque classical repertoire. Benjamin Franklin is usually credited with the creation of the first pair of what items of optical equipment in the early 1760s? Bifocals. Benjamin Franklin is widely credited with inventing bifocal lenses in the 1760s to correct his own presbyopia, a condition that causes difficulty in focusing on near objects. he devised a lens with two different optical powers, allowing him to see both distant and close objects without changing spectacles. Which compound on the surface of Mars makes it appear red? Iron oxide. Iron oxide, commonly known as rust, is abundant on the Martian surface and in its atmosphere. This compound absorbs blue light and reflects red light, giving the planet its characteristic reddish-orange hue, often leading to its nickname, the Red Planet. Where was the Maguindano massacre on the 23rd of November 2009, when 58 victims, including a politician's wife, his two sisters, journalists, lawyers, aides, and motorists who were witnesses, were kidnapped and brutally killed? Philippines. The Maguindano massacre, also known as the Ampatuan massacre, occurred on November 23, 2009, in Maguindano Province, Philippines. It involved the brutal killing of 58 people, including journalists and family members of a political rival, making it one of the deadliest incidents of electoral violence and mass murder of journalists in history. In a general election in 1990, the National League for Democracy Party won 59% of the national votes and 80% of the seats in parliament, but did not get into power. Which country was this? Myanmar. In the 1990 general election in Myanmar, then Burma, the National League for Democracy, NLD, led by Aung San Suu Kyi, secured a landslide victory. Despite winning a vast majority of seats, the ruling military junta refused to cede power, leading to decades of military rule and international condemnation. What constellation is sometimes called the Chained Lady, the Chained Woman, Perseus's wife, or Cepheus's daughter? Andromeda. The Andromeda constellation, visible in the northern hemisphere, is prominent in Greek mythology. It represents Princess Andromeda, daughter of King Cepheus and Queen Cassiopeia, who was chained to a rock as a sacrifice to the sea monster Cetus before being rescued by Perseus. It hosts the Andromeda Galaxy, the closest large spiral galaxy to the Milky Way. Which moon of Jupiter is named after a divine hero in Greek mythology whose homeland was Troy, who was abducted by Zeus in the form of an eagle to serve as cupbearer to the gods and as Zeus's beloved? Ganymede. Ganymede is the largest moon of Jupiter and the largest moon in the solar system, even larger than the planet Mercury. It is named after a Trojan prince in Greek mythology who was abducted by Zeus to become the cupbearer to the gods. Basel, Strasbourg, Karlsruhe, Mannheim, Mainz, Koblenz, Bonn, Cologne, and Düsseldorf are situated on which river? Rhine. The Rhine is one of Europe's longest and most important rivers, flowing approximately 1,232 kilometers from the Swiss Alps through several European countries. It is a vital waterway for trade and transport and has historically been significant for cultural and economic development in the region. Ansel Adams and Terence Donovan were prominent in what field? Photography. Ansel Adams was an American landscape photographer and environmentalist, renowned for his black and white images of the American West. Terence Donovan was a British photographer and film director, known for his fashion photography and iconic portraits. Both made significant contributions to the art and practice of photography. What was the name of the last of the 6 space shuttles that was built? Endeavour. Space Shuttle Endeavour, OV-105, was the 5th and final operational orbiter built for NASA's Space Shuttle program, replacing Challenger, which was lost in 1986. It first flew in 1992 and completed 25 missions, contributing significantly to space research and the construction of the International Space Station before its retirement in 2011. The U.S. Civil War was fought between the Union Army and which other army? Confederate Army. The American Civil War, 1861 to 1865, was a conflict between the Union Army, representing the United States federal government and its loyal states, and the Confederate Army, formed by the seceded southern states. Key issues leading to the war included slavery, states' rights, and economic differences. The Balfour Declaration of 1917 concerned what significant political issue? Establishing a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. The Balfour Declaration was a public statement issued by the British government in 1917 during World War I, announcing support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. This declaration played a crucial role in the subsequent history of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. What cargo was HMS Bounty transporting at the time of the famous mutiny? Breadfruit seedlings. The HMS Bounty was on a mission to transport breadfruit seedlings from Tahiti to the British West Indies, intended as a cheap food source for enslaved people. The infamous mutiny against Captain William Bligh, led by Fletcher Christian, occurred on April 28, 1789, primarily due to Bligh's harsh discipline and the crew's longing for Tahiti. What is the name given to the list of all the accounts contained in a business's ledger and their respective values, from which most financial reports are produced? Trial balance. A trial balance is an accounting document that lists the balances of all general ledger accounts at a specific date. Its main purpose is to ensure that the total debits equal the total credits, serving as a preliminary step in preparing a company's financial statements such as the balance sheet and income statement. Which claimant to the kingdoms of England and Ireland was de facto monarch of England after the death of Edward VI for just over a week in July 1553, and was executed in 1554? Lady Jane Grey. Lady Jane Grey was proclaimed queen after Edward VI's death in 1553, bypassing his half-sisters Mary and Elizabeth. Her reign lasted only 9 days before Mary Tudor garnered support and successfully claimed the throne, leading to Lady Jane Grey's execution for treason the following year. What is the closest city to the Large Hadron Collider, the world's most powerful particle accelerator? Geneva, Switzerland. The Large Hadron Collider, LHC, is operated by CERN and is located near Geneva, Switzerland, straddling the French-Swiss border. It is the world's largest and highest energy particle collider, designed to explore fundamental questions of physics by simulating conditions shortly after the Big Bang. The Mason-Dixon line, which came to symbolize the cultural boundary between the northern and southern United States, was originally surveyed to define the border between Maryland and which other state? Pennsylvania. The Mason-Dixon line was surveyed by Charles Mason and Jeremiah Dixon in the 1760s to resolve a protracted border dispute between the British colonies of Pennsylvania, Maryland, Delaware, and Virginia. It later became a symbolic demarcation line between free states and slave states, representing the profound cultural and political schism between the northern and southern United States. Which religion features the 5 duties or the 5 pillars? Islam. The 5 pillars of Islam are fundamental practices in Islam, considered obligatory acts of worship that are incumbent upon all Muslims. These pillars include the Shahada, declaration of faith, Salat, prayer, Zakat, charity, Sawm, fasting during Ramadan, and Hajj, pilgrimage to Makkah. What award is the equivalent of the Oscars for the music industry? Grammys. The Grammy Awards are prestigious accolades presented by the Recording Academy to recognize outstanding achievements in the music industry. They are widely considered one of the 4 major annual American Entertainment Awards, alongside the Academy Awards for film, the Emmy Awards for television, and the Tony Awards for theater. On the 1st of July 1967, what was the first official color broadcast transmitted on television in the UK? Wimbledon Gentlemen's Final. The 1967 Wimbledon Gentlemen's Singles Final, featuring John Newcombe against Wilhelm Baumgart, marked a significant milestone in British broadcasting history. It was the first official color television broadcast transmitted in the United Kingdom, ushering in a new era for visual media. If someone is described as bibulous, what activity are they frequently involved in? Drinking. The term bibulous describes someone who is fond of or addicted to drinking alcohol. It comes from the Latin word bibere, meaning to drink, and is often used in a slightly formal or literary context, making it suitable for vocabulary assessment. What major river flows through Memphis, Tennessee, USA? Mississippi River. The Mississippi River is the second longest river in North America, playing a crucial role in the history, economy, and culture of the United States. Memphis, situated on its eastern bank, developed as a significant port city due to its strategic location on the river. What is the collective name for the group of elements that includes fluorine, chlorine, bromine, and iodine? Halogens. Halogens constitute group 17 of the periodic table, known for their high reactivity and tendency to form salts with metals. These non-metallic elements are crucial in various industrial and biological applications due to their electron configuration. What major internet company was founded by Larry Page and Sergey Brin? Google. Larry Page and Sergey Brin co-founded Google in 1998 while they were PhD students at Stanford University. Their original goal was to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful, leading to the development of the world's most popular search engine. How many aerial victories was World War I flying ace Baron Manfred von Richthofen, also known as the Red Baron, officially credited with before his death? 80. Manfred von Richthofen, famously known as the Red Baron, was a German fighter pilot during World War I and is considered the ace of aces of the war. He achieved 80 confirmed aerial combat victories, making him one of the most celebrated figures in aviation history. In which major conflict was the napalm incendiary bomb initially deployed? World War II. Napalm, a highly flammable gelling agent mixed with gasoline, was first developed and deployed by the United States during World War II. It was primarily used in incendiary bombs and flamethrowers to create widespread fires and destroy enemy positions. In what year did Germany officially reunify after decades of division? 1990. Germany officially reunified on October 3, 1990, following the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989. This event marked the end of the division of Germany into East and West Germany, symbolizing a significant geopolitical shift in post-Cold War Europe. What is the word for a piece of material that is used to mend a hole in an item of clothing? Patch. A patch is a common term for a piece of material, often fabric, used to cover or mend a hole or tear in clothing or other textiles. This simple repair technique is both practical and historically widespread, reflecting resourcefulness in mending items. Mstislav Rostropovich is most associated with which musical instrument? Cello. Mstislav Rostropovich was a renowned Soviet and Russian cellist and conductor, widely regarded as one of the greatest cellists of all time. His illustrious career significantly expanded the cello's repertoire through numerous commissions and performances of modern works. The term Hispanic means relating to what country? Spain. The term Hispanic primarily refers to people, cultures, or languages that originate from Spain or Spanish-speaking countries, particularly in Latin America. It broadly encompasses the cultural and linguistic legacy of the Spanish Empire. What London establishment was created in 1826 by Sir Stamford Raffles? London Zoo, Regent's Park. The London Zoo, situated in Regent's Park, was founded in 1826 by Sir Stamford Raffles, who is also known for founding Singapore. Initially established for scientific study, it was the world's first scientific zoo before opening to the public in 1847. Who invented the Ferris wheel? George Washington Ferris. George Washington Ferris Jr. invented the original Ferris wheel for the 1893 World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago. This iconic structure was conceived as an American engineering marvel to rival the Eiffel Tower, offering a new form of amusement ride. The islands of Alderney, Herm, Jeddah, Brecciau, Berau, Leo and Sark are administered directly by a government based where? The island of Guernsey. These islands are part of the bailiwick of Guernsey, a self-governing crown dependency located in the English Channel. The administrative and judicial functions for these smaller islands are primarily centered on the main island of Guernsey, reflecting its status as the principal island of the bailiwick. In 1970, who began to popularize a style of journalism known as gonzo journalism? Hunter S. Thompson. Hunter S. Thompson is widely credited with popularizing gonzo journalism in the early 1970s. This distinctive style is characterized by the journalist's subjective participation in the events being reported, often blending fact with fiction and employing a highly personal, first-person narrative, eschewing claims of traditional journalistic objectivity. In which war did the British Army first deploy tanks? World War I. Tanks were first introduced by the British during World War I at the Battle of Flers Corslet in September 1916. This marked a significant innovation in warfare, attempting to break the stalemate of trench warfare and change the dynamics of ground combat. In the 19th century, who wrote Stancliffe's Hotel, when she was 23, a work that was not published until 2003, a decade before she found a public audience? Charlotte Brontë. Charlotte Brontë, a prominent 19th-century English novelist, is best known for Jane Eyre. Stancliffe's Hotel is an early, lesser-known work that remained unpublished for decades, highlighting her early literary endeavors before gaining public recognition under the pseudonym Currer Bell. Who served as Attorney General of the USA from 1961 to 1964, as U.S. Senator for New York from 1965 to 1968, and was assassinated in 1968 while campaigning for president? Robert Kennedy. Robert F. Kennedy, brother of President John F. Kennedy, was a significant political figure in the 1960s. His career included serving as Attorney General and Senator, before his assassination during his presidential campaign in 1968, a tragic event that deeply impacted American politics. Who created the iconic statue of David, which is housed in Florence's Galleria dell'Accademia? Michelangelo. Michelangelo's David is a masterpiece of Renaissance sculpture, carved from 1501 to 1504. The 17-foot marble statue depicts the biblical hero David before his battle with Goliath, symbolizing strength and youthful defiance, and is one of the most famous works of art in history. The Basilica of Santa Maria Novella, the Uffizi Gallery, the Pitti Palace, the Fountain of Neptune, and the Boboli Gardens are all located in which city? Florence. Florence, a prominent city in Italy, is renowned as the birthplace of the Renaissance and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It is home to numerous iconic art galleries, palaces, and gardens that showcase its rich history and cultural significance, attracting millions of tourists annually. What is the Internet Country Code Top-Level Domain, CCTLD, for the islands of Tuvalu? TV. The TV CCTLD for Tuvalu is notably recognized worldwide due to its association with television. The small island nation earns substantial revenue by licensing this domain, which is popular with broadcasters, video streaming services, and entertainment websites globally. Which constellation, situated between Cancer and Virgo, includes prominent stars such as Regulus, Denebola, Wolf 359, Gliese 436, and Algebe? Leo. Leo is one of the 12 zodiac constellations, recognized by its distinctive sickle-shaped asterism representing the head of the lion. It contains several significant stars, including Regulus, its brightest star and one of the 4 royal stars of ancient Persia, and Denebola, marking the lion's tail. Auguste Escoffier was famous for what activity? Cookery. Auguste Escoffier was a legendary French chef who modernized and codified French cooking methods during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. His work greatly influenced the organization of professional kitchens and the development of classical French cuisine. Which virus, which interferes with the endothelial cells lining the anterior surface of blood vessels and coagulation causing hypovolemic shock, first emerged in 1976 in Zaire and came to international attention in 1989 after a widely publicized outbreak in Virginia, USA? Ebola. Ebola is a severe and often fatal viral hemorrhagic fever caused by the Ebola virus. It is transmitted through direct contact with blood, bodily fluids, and tissues of infected animals or people, leading to internal bleeding, organ failure, and hypovolemic shock. The virus first emerged in 1976 in Zaire, now Democratic Republic of Congo. Who composed the Radetzky March? Johann Strauss the Elder. The Radetzky March is a famous orchestral march composed by Johann Strauss the Elder in 1848. It is frequently performed at the New Year's concerts in Vienna and has become a symbol of Austrian military tradition and classical music. The main aims of which society in Great Britain between 1838 and 1850 were, basically, a vote for every man 21 years of age, a secret ballot, no property qualification for members of parliament, payment of MPs, equal constituencies, and annual parliaments. Chartists. Chartism was a working-class movement for political reform in Great Britain between 1838 and 1850, named after the People's Charter of 1838. Its 6 main demands, including universal male suffrage and annual parliaments, aimed to achieve greater democracy and workers' rights. Which Caribbean country, consisting of 2 main islands, is the smallest nation in the Western Hemisphere? Saint Kitts and Nevis. Saint Kitts and Nevis is a twin island nation in the West Indies, forming the smallest sovereign state in the Western Hemisphere both in terms of area and population. Its capital is Basse-Terre, located on the larger island of Saint Kitts. Who got the vote in Britain in 1829? Roman Catholics. The Roman Catholic Relief Act of 1829, also known as Catholic Emancipation, granted Roman Catholics throughout the United Kingdom the right to vote and to sit in Parliament. This act removed many of the remaining restrictions that had been placed on Catholics since the 17th century. Over 40% of the population of the US state of Alaska live in which city? Anchorage. Anchorage is the largest city in the US state of Alaska, serving as a major economic and transportation hub for the region. Despite Alaska's vast area, a significant portion of its population, over 40%, resides within the Anchorage municipality. What is the evening prayer service observed in Western Catholic, Eastern, Byzantine, Catholic, Eastern Orthodox, Anglican, and Lutheran churches? Vespers. Vespers is a significant evening prayer service, part of the Liturgy of the Hours in Western Christianity and the daily office in Eastern Christianity. It typically includes psalms, hymns, scripture readings, and intercessions, marking the close of the day with prayer and reflection. Who invented the cartographic method of representing a spherical shape as a rectangle? Gerardus Mercator. Gerardus Mercator invented the Mercator projection in 1569. This cylindrical map projection became standard for navigation because it preserves angles and shapes, making lines of constant bearing, rhumb lines, straight. While excellent for navigation, it distorts the size of landmasses, especially near the poles. In which Canadian province are Elk Island National Park, Wood Buffalo National Park, and the Columbia Icefield located? Alberta. Elk Island National Park, a fenced preserve for bison, and Wood Buffalo National Park, Canada's largest national park and a UNESCO World Heritage Site known for its free-roaming bison herd, are both primarily in Alberta. The Columbia Icefield, a major ice field in the Canadian Rockies, also straddles the border of Alberta and British Columbia, with significant portions accessible from Alberta. What term describes a wine characterized by harsh and intensely pronounced flavors? Aggressive. In wine tasting, aggressive denotes a wine with overly harsh, unbalanced, or dominant characteristics, often referring to excessive tannins, acidity, or alcohol. While some boldness is desired, an aggressive wine lacks harmony and can be unpleasant to drink. Which area of Tokyo is recognized as one of the world's most luxurious shopping districts? Ginza. Ginza is a prominent upscale district in Tokyo, renowned globally for its luxury boutiques, department stores, high-end restaurants, and exclusive art galleries. It has historically been a hub for modern fashion and culture in Japan, offering a sophisticated shopping and dining experience. Who was the Princess of Tyre who, following her brother Pygmalion's murder of her husband Sychaeus, fled to Africa and founded the city of Carthage? Dido. Dido, also known as Elisa, was the legendary founder and first queen of Carthage, a major Phoenician city-state in ancient North Africa. Her story is famously recounted in Virgil's Aeneid, where she offers refuge to Aeneas before his eventual departure for Italy. Carthage grew into a powerful maritime empire, challenging Rome in the Punic Wars. How many coronations had been held at Westminster Abbey before that of Queen Elizabeth II? 37. Westminster Abbey has been the traditional venue for the coronation of British monarchs since William the Conqueror in 1066. Queen Elizabeth II's coronation in 1953 marked the 38th such ceremony held in the Abbey. Where was the wedding of Charles, Prince of Wales, and Lady Diana Frances Spencer on the 29th of July 1981, held? St. Paul's Cathedral. The wedding of Prince Charles and Lady Diana Spencer, often dubbed the wedding of the century, took place at St. Paul's Cathedral in London. This choice broke with tradition, as royal weddings usually occurred at Westminster Abbey, and was made to accommodate the larger guest list. Where is the Sea of Serenity? On the Moon. The Sea of Serenity, Mare Serenitatis, is one of the largest lunar maria, or seas, on the Moon. These dark plains are vast basaltic plains formed by ancient volcanic eruptions and are visible with the naked eye from Earth. Marcel Duchamp, whose work was associated with the Dadaist and Surrealist movements, abandoned his successful career as an artist in the later part of his life to do what? Play chess. Marcel Duchamp, a highly influential French artist whose work challenged conventional art forms, famously devoted much of his later life to playing chess professionally. His shift away from art represented a radical departure, though some scholars see parallels between his conceptual approach to art and his strategic thinking in chess. By what name does history better know 11th century Castilian military leader Rodrigo Díaz de Vivar? LCID. Rodrigo Díaz de Vivar, an 11th century Castilian nobleman and military leader, is better known by his honorific title, El Cid. He became a legendary national hero of Spain, celebrated for his military prowess during the Reconquista and immortalized in the epic poem, Canta de Mio Cid. What was the world's first full-scale atomic electric power plant devoted exclusively to peacetime uses, that went online in 1957? Shippingport. The Shippingport Atomic Power Station, located in Pennsylvania, USA, became operational in 1957 as the world's first full-scale atomic electric power plant exclusively for peaceful uses. This facility marked a pivotal moment in the development of nuclear energy for civilian electricity generation. What was the only painting that Vincent van Gogh sold while he was alive? Red Vineyard. The Red Vineyard, painted by Vincent van Gogh in November 1888, is widely believed to be the only painting he sold during his lifetime. It was purchased by Anna Bosch, a Belgian painter and collector, for 400 francs a year before Van Gogh's death. The American War of Independence began as a war between the Kingdom of Great Britain and how many British colonies in North America? 13. The American War of Independence, also known as the American Revolutionary War, began in 1775 as a conflict between the Kingdom of Great Britain and its 13 colonies in North America. These colonies ultimately declared independence in 1776 and formed the United States of America. Helen of Troy was abducted from where? Sparta. Helen of Troy, a central figure in Greek mythology, was abducted from Sparta by Paris, Prince of Troy. This act triggered the Trojan War, as depicted in Homer's epic poem, the Iliad. The Tyrol is a region in which mountain range? Alps. Tyrol is a historical region located in the western part of Austria and the northern part of Italy, known for its alpine landscape. It is situated within the Alps, Europe's highest and most extensive mountain range. What are the young of a frog called? Tadpole. The young of a frog are called tadpoles, representing the larval stage in the amphibian life cycle. Tadpoles are typically aquatic, possessing gills for breathing and a tail for propulsion, and undergo metamorphosis to develop into adult frogs. What was the name of the 1571 sea battle when a fleet of the Holy League, a coalition of Spain, including Naples, Sicily and Sardinia, the Republic of Venice, the Papacy, the Republic of Genoa, the Duchy of Savoy, the Knights Hospitaller and others, decisively defeated the main fleet of the Ottoman Empire? The Battle of Lepanto. The Battle of Lepanto, fought in 1571, was a decisive naval engagement where the Holy League, a coalition of Catholic states, inflicted a major defeat on the fleet of the Ottoman Empire. This victory significantly curbed Ottoman expansion in the Mediterranean and was a crucial moment in European history. What was the nickname for the German L-14 howitzer, used in World War I? Big Bertha. Big Bertha was the nickname for the German 42 cm, 16.5-inch, L-14 coastal defense howitzer used during World War I. These massive siege guns were famously deployed to bombard Belgian fortresses and played a significant role in early German offensives.